The first 2 seasons of Kimetsu no Yaiba literally blew me away with the high quality. Now, will they be able to keep it up in this 3rd season? Let's have a look together and find out. Ikaze! Okay, so this season picks up where the 2nd season left off, and we have our main hero still reeling from the loss of Rengoku-san, the Hono Hashira, the pillar of fire, because as you know, in the core, in the Demon Slayer core, you have various pillars, and each pillar is actually the epitome, so to say, the strongest user of a certain form of kokyu or breathing technique. Rengoku-san was the pillar of the Hashira of the Hono no kokyu, so the fire breathing technique. And in the 2nd season we lost him, which was a very emotional moment in the series. And I think it's great that they start out the series with our main characters, Tanjiro and company, still reeling from that loss. So what's also great is that you see how they struggle to pick up from there, and how they actually overcome that and use that as a strength. So the fact that they lost an ally whom they in a short amount of time bonded with and respected a lot, because Rengoku-san was so straightforward of a character, it's really great that they show that this has a deep impact on the heroes, but at the same time it can be a motivation for them to move forward and to get better. Particular point is that Tanjiro is visiting Rengoku-san's family. So in the beginning of this review I'm going to keep it as spoiler free as possible. Later we'll get into spoiler territory. So I think it's great that Tanjiro is actually the one who visits his family to convey his last words. That was a very poignant episode in my opinion, and it's great that we take some time to reflect on that. We're not moving to the next chapter, so to speak, immediately. We're not going off to the next adventure. We're not going off to face the next enemy. We're taking the time to reflect upon and to deal with the fallout of the previous episode and Rengoku's death. So that was great, I think. I think it's great that they took enough time in the anime to cover that, and it adds to the depth of the story as well. I love it when anime, manga, or whatever kind of medium really takes the time to go deeper than just surface level feelings, where we really can explore the fallout, where we can explore what kind of impact it has, not just on the main characters, but also on the characters surrounding them. And you can really see that how the other Hashira, the other pillars, as briefly as it is shown, how they react to his death. How our heroes are then trying to pick themselves up and use that as motivation to really get better, get stronger. That is very well conveyed in the anime, and a particular point for Rengoku's family, because you have his father who has kind of slipped into a bit of a depression, I would say, fleeing into booze, alcohol, and actually trying to shut off what his former self was, because he was the former Hono Hashira, so the former flame pillar, and then Rengoku-san's younger brother as well, and then Tanjiro, who arrives at the family house and who has to convey those last words. I must say, when I saw that scene, I was really thinking, like, if I would be in Tanjiro's place, how would I convey that? And I thought it was really well done. It was at the same time modest in a way, And at the same time, it was also a way for Tanjiro to show his gratitude, to show how much it affected him, and in a sense, to share his guilt, to show to Rengoku's family how he himself, Tanjiro that is, feels he has failed Rengoku-san and his family. I thought that was very well done. It was a very held back emotion, but at the same time a deep emotion that was shown on the screen, and that was fantastically well done. And you can see it will also be a trigger for certain things to change. Now, I'm going to get into it in the spoiler part of the review, but there's really something about this scene that is, in my opinion, kind of shows that this can be a turning point. So later on, after they get better, after they have trained a lot, they encounter the Otohashira, so the sound pillar, Tengen Uzui-san, and he wants to take some females on the mission with him, and Tanjiro and company they object because they say you shouldn't drag these girls into it, but he says that is Tengen says, look, I need female members in my party because it's for a very specific mission, and Tanjiro and company, they apply for the mission, they volunteer to go instead of the girls. So that's the start of the season. Very nicely done the way we deal with what happened past season, and then from there gently we transition into the next chapter and the next enemy they're gonna face. Now, the next enemy is very interesting because the whole story takes place in, and that's also the title of the season, Yuukaku-hen, in the Yuukaku Chiho, in the entertainment district. Now, you must know, Kimetsu no Yaiba takes place in the Taisho era. It's a Japanese era that is from the beginning of the 1900s. I believe it is from 1912 till 1926, something like that. So before World War II, and this was actually an existing area. So this entertainment district, it did exist in the past, and you did indeed have these kinds of areas, and well, let's call them places of entertainment, and I mean adult entertainment then. So that really existed in that area, and usually it were relatively poor girls that were sold into a house. With a house, I mean like an entertainment house, and I'm trying to use words that don't get me banned on YouTube here, but I hope you understand what I mean with entertainment. They were sold into the house, and there was usually a madam, Oira, and she was like the head of the family, so to speak, or in a certain sense. And as head of the family, she would train and cultivate those young girls so that as they get old enough, they can receive guests. And it's different than cheap entertainment, if I can call it that, because these girls were actually well versed in all kinds of culture and amusement, going from being able to play certain musical instruments, to being able to recite poetry, to being able to sing, dance. So they were really well educated. They had beautiful kimono, always put on beautiful makeup, and they were actually able to entertain guests in a variety of manner, being able to also let them enjoy certain cultural aspects. And it wasn't unheard of that sometimes when a girl would rise the ranks and she would become oiran, so a higher ranked entertainment girl. And if she catches the eye of, for example, a samurai, it wasn't unheard of that he would actually buy off her death and take her as his wife. Because these girls, they were not just performing physical things. They were also very well versed in all cultural aspects. So this is something that is also a part that I really enjoy about Kimetsu no Yaiba, the fact that the author transplants us into that era, and not in a superficial way. We're actually seeing many things, many parts that are part of that era. We saw it in the previous arc as well, in the Mugen Ressha arc. The way that steam locomotive, the early railway systems in Japan, well, that was actually very well done. That was actually the way it would have been in that era. And there are a lot of actual places in Japan where the author has taken inspiration from, including also this entertainment district. Yuukaku is actually, this chapter is based on that whole background of that entertainment. So that's really great. And the rest of the season then takes place there, because Tengen Uzui, the Oto Hashira, is convinced that there is an Oni, a demon, hiding amongst the people there, and is devouring customers. People keep disappearing in that entertainment district, and that is not normal. And he's convinced it's an Oni, but he doesn't know where the Oni is exactly hiding. And that's the whole story arc of Tengen Uzui leading our heroes into that district and trying to uncover who the demon is, where he or she is hiding, and trying to exterminate the threat. So in that way, I hope I can explain it in a relatively spoiler-free way. It's a very interesting chapter, and I must say, story-wise, the first two chapters were incredibly well done. This is at least as good. I know the level was very high, the bar was very high, but this season manages to at least match the previous seasons, and I would even say manages to surpass them, which is an incredible feat. Ufotable did an incredibly good job, the animation studio, because everything is incredibly well done. The story comes from the manga, of course. The story is very well done, very well written, but the animation studio manages to translate that to the screen in such a way that it's so captivating, so very well done, and it's even the little details are fantastic. Just to give an example, you have little particles in the air here and there, little speckles inside certain rooms. The backgrounds are all done with an incredible amount of detail. A lot of attention is put into detail here. And what stood out most of all for me was the incredible action scenes. Now, without giving away too much, the previous seasons had some great action scenes, but this was on an entirely different level. Me and my wife, we were constantly sitting on the edge of our seats while watching the action in this chapter. This was incredible. This was amazing. This was another notch higher than the previous seasons, which were already incredibly high, I think. And the way the fight scenes are created was so dynamic. You have switching camera angles, and you have a drawing style that really pulls out that incredible fierceness in the battle. That was so fantastically well done. I feel like this is a season I'm going to have to rewatch and rewatch again to take in all the details during the action scenes, to really absorb all the fantastic little lines they put into the action. This is incredibly well done. The coloring was very vibrant in the action scenes as well. It really matches. Now, the way they translated it from the pages of the manga to the big screen, to the TV screen, is incredibly well done. This is absolutely one of the better action scenes I have seen in this year, bar none. This is fantastically well done. And what's really great is now the fights as they continue, and I'm not going to try to give a lot of spoilers here, but you really go from turning point to turning point and from surprise to surprise, and they managed to keep the flow going in such an incredibly good way where the fight doesn't, it's not like there's all of a sudden a slowing down in the action or an unnatural calm in the action because they are setting up a surprise or a turning point. No, it all flows really well together with those turning points in there, with those surprises in there. Incredibly well done. This is something you absolutely have to experience. And I must say, the word that came to mind when me and my wife watched it was hageshi. And hageshi is Japanese for fierce. The fights are fierce, the battle is fierce, it's incredibly breathtaking, something you have to experience. Now that's for the animation, which was, as I said, fantastic. Sound-wise, no big surprises there, as we keep the incredible high bar that was set with the previous seasons. The music is great, the voice acting is fantastic, little sounds are really well done. At some point you have like the sound of wood creaking and so on. All of that is very well done. Action, whether it be a calm scene where you have like those girls walking in the hallway. I mean, the way they simulate the stepping on the wooden floor and so on. It's all very well done. A lot of attention to detail as well there. Voice actors were incredibly on point here, same as they were in the previous seasons, so I have no negative remarks there. Fantastic. If anything, this season supersedes the previous seasons, which were already incredibly well done. So what can I say? This is fantastic. This is what anime is about. This is why I watch anime. This kind of storytelling and this kind of quality is what I want from my anime. Now we're going to move a little bit into spoiler territory now. So as I've said, I'm coming back to the action scenes. I really enjoyed the action, and I didn't. It's incredible the amount of times they almost cut the head of the Oni, and then to just find out that actually they didn't win, and that was incredibly well done. And also the way that they convey Tanjiro's character and of his friends as well, never giving up, never backing down. That was fantastically well done. This is what, even though there is a lot of blood and violence in these scenes, but these are things, in my opinion, that not just adults can enjoy, but children as well. It teaches you the value of never giving up. Even in the face of an incredible adversity, you never give up. And it was so well translated in that one scene where Tanjiro is trying to cut the head of the demon, and the blade of his sword is just stuck in it a little bit, and just he keeps on pushing, and he says, "Come on, cut it, get through." That emotion in there is incredibly well translated, is incredibly well conveyed, and you feel with the character actually. And the incredible fast movements of Tengen Uzui-san against the Oni, especially once Gyutaro comes out, and then you see those fast fight scenes. And what I really liked was Tengen is a dual wielder. He has two blades, and he just swings them around incredibly fast. Gyutaro also with his kama, with his sides, incredibly fast, and you see those scenes changing camera angles, and you see the city crumbling with each episode as the fierceness of the battle is exploding all around them. This was fantastically well done. I enjoyed it so very much. This was a fantastic season. And as I said, it all comes together. It really all comes together. You have the fallout of the previous season, and there I really enjoyed the fact, the interaction with Tanjiro and Rengoku-san's father. You have the two juxtaposed in a certain sense, with his younger brother, Rengoku's younger brother in the middle. The father who has become a bitter old man, constantly fleeing into alcohol to forget about the fact that his wife passed away. And as harsh as his encounter with Tanjiro is at first, it really made him finally come to the point that he realizes what he's doing is not okay, and that he needs to stop fleeing in alcohol, and that he needs to honor his son, who gave his life for the Demon Slayer Corps. I think that was incredibly well done. I mean, at first you kind of dislike him. You hate his father, Rengoku's father, for behaving in such a way. But at the same time, when you take a step back, you can sympathize with him. The man lost his wife at a very early age. He wasn't able to cope with it. He pushed everyone away because he didn't want to face his own sadness. And now on top of that, he loses his oldest son, again reacting in the same way. But Tanjiro's visit, I think, was a turning point that made him face his sadness, and it was incredibly well done, because we saw that one scene where his younger son said, "Saigo no koshita kotoba," the last words that my brother left you were, "Take care of your body, take care of your health," right? Because he knew that he was drinking a lot, and he reacts again in that fierce way, pushing his son away. But when he's alone, the words sink in, and he really lets it all out, and he starts crying like a little child, putting his bottle away. And I think that was the turning point. That was the point. It started with Tanjiro's visit, but that was the point where Rengoku's father started to deal with loss. That was incredibly well done, that scene. That was incredibly well done. It touched me, and it showed real emotion on the screen. That was incredibly well done. And then later on as well, it was really great in the Yuukaku, because it's Yuukaku in the entertainment district. The way our heroes were dressing up as ladies, actually, pretending to be ladies. That was kind of like a bit of humor then, and that was really nice, because it doesn't always have to be serious. It doesn't always have to be gloom and doom. It's nice that you have some levity there, and then once they start to everything starts to unravel, and they start to find the Oni, which is at first is Daki, an Oiran, pretty high up in the ranks. And the battle starts, and then you feel like, wow, this is a level 6 top demon, Jokyu Roku. Wow, Tanjiro is able to hold his own, and then you get a few glimpses of Tanjiro having a lot more potential than he's able to display now, and it's just a matter of perseverance and continued training for him to actually fully develop his potential. He's able to hold himself, almost being able to defeat Daki with the help of Nezuko, of course, but still being able to defeat her. And then you find out, actually, no, this is the weaker of a sibling Oni, and her brother comes out of her, and then you see the full power of the Oni, which severely outclasses Tanjiro and company, and they really need to rely on Tengen, on the Otohashira, the sound pillar, to just stay in the fight, to even have a fighting chance. And I think that's great. I mean, they've been working so hard since the loss of Rengoku-san, but still they're not at the level where they can defeat that kind of demon. And I think that's good. That's a good thing. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of time to increase your power, to increase your level, to move forward with whichever goal in life you have. And this anime shows that in a very good way. You don't give up, you keep pushing forward, but you shouldn't expect miracles in a short amount of time. It's just not possible. And we see that here as well. Tanjiro has gotten stronger, the other ones have gotten stronger, but they're still not at that level yet. And Tengen is, in a way, as straightforward as Rengoku. Rengoku, the Hono no Hashira, and I think that's typical for flames. Those are very fierce, they burn and give off a lot of heat. And the sound pillar, Oto no Hashira, he's also very straightforward. He's also putting himself between the Oni and our heroes, but he's more like the flashy guy, the Hade, he says, and that was fantastically well done. So those interactions between those characters were great. The way they rely on each other as well was fantastically well done. You see that everyone relies on everyone. And again, Tanjiro taking it all upon himself. Again saying, because I wasn't fast enough, because I'm not strong enough, because I wasn't there at that split second, things would have gone differently. A couple of times throughout the season, during the fight, you see him, or you hear him thinking that. And I think that's very typical for Tanjiro's character, because it speaks to him that he wants to save everyone. Even more than once, he puts himself in a weak position during the fight in order to protect normal people, whereas maybe somebody else would focus on winning the fight, even if some regular folks get hurt in the process. Tanjiro will always look to protect the weak. And even when a stronger ally gets hurt, even then he will take it upon himself. He will think like, it was me. I wasn't able to hold my own enough to be helpful to that comrade, to that ally. And that is a trait that I really admire in Tanjiro. I think it really speaks to the kind of character he is, and the other ones as well. Actually, I mean, the fight scenes were so good, and it's not just the very fierce action; it's also the emotion that is put into it. The way Tanjiro is focused on saving everyone. The way his other comrades don't give up and just keep on pushing ahead and keep on going for it. The way they support each other in the fight. All of it came together in such a fantastic way. This was a great chapter, and I think it's also great, spoiler ahead again, but that Tengen survived. Now, he had his arm cut off, but he and his 3 wives, I don't know whether that's lucky or that's bad luck, I'm going to leave that up to you, but he and his 3 wives survived, and as they had discussed, if they can defeat one of the upper class demons, Jokyu Oni, they were gonna retire. And this is what they're gonna do. They were able to, all of them together, take down the level 6 demon, and now Tengen is gonna retire with his wives. He has lasting damage on his body with his arm cut off, but I think that's great story-wise. You would think, because the first Hashira we see in action, the first pillar we saw in action was killed in the previous arc, you would think that this is going to be the way the rest of the story is going to continue, that one by one the pillars are going to fall and are going to die. Here we have a pillar that has lasting damage and that doesn't die, but that is going to retire. And I think that's also great. This really shows that the author of Kimetsu no Yaiba knows what he's doing, because he writes the story in such a way that it feels authentic and not just repetitive, but especially with a lot of heart and emotion in it. And this is why I love this manga so much. This is why I love this anime so much, because Ufotable is able to bring this to the screen in such a fantastic way. This is a must-see season. I cannot wait to see the next season. Maybe I'll do some videos where we're going to dig a little bit deeper into Kimetsu no Yaiba, because that would be interesting. There's a lot to tell about the Taisho era, the era in which this story takes place, and the various places that have been covered. So maybe I'll do another video series on that, but this was just a review to let you know what I thought of this season. Hope you enjoyed my views. If you want to share your opinion or your views on this season, please do let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Ciao ne! Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell and sound off in the comments. And hey, while you're here, why not check out another video?